Welcome to my channel. Today we'll look into next 20 PSM1 practice question. So let's get started with that. First question. When should the sprint goal be crafted? Options. During the sprint planning meeting. The sprint goal is optional and can be created when it makes sense. During the product refinement activity for the upcoming sprint. Before work on a new release starts. During the sprint review meeting. No, now it's your time to think before we move to answer. So answer is during the sprint planning meeting. Scrum team creates a sprint goal. Next question. During the sprint planning meeting, the developers pull a number of product backlog items from the product backlog into the sprint backlog. How should product backlog item be selected if multiple teams work on the same project? The options are item can be selected by rotating the team. The product owner should create separate product backlogs for each team. Items are selected in agreement with the product owner. Items are distributed in an equal manner. The product owner selects the items. Your time to think before we move to answer. Answer is, in this case, collaborating with the product owner and the other team is necessary. Since the Scrum Guide has no recommendation or specific rules about this process, this approach is the only option that doesn't break any Scrum rules. Remember that the items are not assigned but pulled by the developers. So the items are selected in agreement with the product owner. Next question. For complex products that has many requirements and stakeholder, what's the maximum number of product owner Scrum team should have? Your time to think before we move to answer. There's always only one product owner. Remember the rule. There's one product owner for one product backlog for one product. Next question. One of the 5 Scrum values is commitment. How are the developers committed when using the Scrum framework? Which of the following are examples that exhibit this? Options are they do their best to complete all the work in the sprint backlog. They work overtime if needed for the product owner. Second, they work as professionals to best achieve goals. Third, adapt the definition of done during the sprint to help them reach the sprint goal. Fourth, they're dedicated to improving their skills and helping others. Fifth, they do their best to reach the sprint goal. So it's your time to think now. Answer are they work as professionals to best achieve goals. They're dedicated to improving their skills and helping others. They do their best to reach the sprint goal. Adapting the definition of done during the sprint to lower quality is not acceptable. Next question. During the sprint planning meeting, the developers select several product backlog items, which will meet the sprint goal when completed. What best describes the definition of done? Your time to think before we move to the answer. Answer is it ensures transparency. It specifies what it means for the increment to be complete and relatable. Scrum Guide 2020 explains the definition of done creates transparency by providing everyone a shared understanding of what work was completed as part of the increment. We don't refer to the definition of done as a checklist, even if it may look like one. Next question. Complete the following sentence. The daily scrum is held at the same time and place each day in order to reduce complexity. The Scrum Guide 2020 clearly states that to reduce complexity, it's held at the same time and place every working day of the sprint. Next question. A company is developing two products with two separate Scrum teams. Which of the following is false? Answer. One person cannot be the product owner for both products. It's a tricky question. First of all, you need to notice the false in the question. One person can be the product owner in different teams. The Scrum Guide does not impose any restrictions on that. Next question. Who has authority to cancel the sprint? Options. Scrum team or any individual members, the product owner and stakeholders, the product owner, the Scrum Master, the manager. So the product owner. Scrum Guide 2020 explains a sprint could be cancelled if the sprint goal becomes obsolete. Only the product owner has authority to cancel the sprint. Next question. Why is the sprint goal important? Options. It guides the Scrum team. It helps the product owner monitor progress. It helps those outside the Scrum team monitor progress. It guides the Scrum Master on how the Scrum team is performing. It's not really valuable, it's just nice to have. Answer. It guides the Scrum team. The sprint goal simply provides guidance to the Scrum team on why it's building the product increment. Next question. Complete the following sentence. The daily Scrum is a options 15-minute time box even for 4 week sprints. The shortest sprint, it should be shorter. Second, minimum 15-minute event. Third, 15-minute time box event. Fourth, 2 minute per person event. Your time to think before we move to answer. Answer is 15-minute time box event. The maximum duration of this event is not related to the sprint length. The Scrum Guide 2020 explains that a daily Scrum is a 15-minute event for the developers of the Scrum team. If the event has reached its purpose before the 15-minute has passed, the event ends. Next question. The product has 5 components. 5 Scrum teams work on the same product. They have a discussion on how to improve their development process. Keeping in mind the Scrum framework, what would be the optimal approach they could take? Options. Developers from one team can switch between the team as needed. This ensures know-how transfer and cross-functionality. Second, the product owner is responsible for the value of the product. The product owner should decide how the team should be structured. Third, each team is delegated and committed to a single component of the product. The components are independent of each other. Each team works through all the components of the product when building new functionality. Answer. Each team works through all the components of the product when building new functionality. Having all the Scrum teams working through all the layers of the product is considered the best approach. This reduces the dependency between the teams, encourages cross functionality, and leads to better results. Next question. Which of the following is the result of sprint planning meeting? Options. product vision, definition of done, product increment, product backlog, selected items for the sprint, sprint plan, product goal, sprint goal. Answer. Selected items for the sprint plan, and sprint goal. The outcome of the sprint planning meeting is the sprint backlog. The Scrum Guide 2020 explains the sprint goal, the product backlog items selected for the sprint, plus the plan for delivering them are together referred to as a sprint backlog. Next question. For which purpose can burn down chart be used in Scrum? Options. Estimate when the remaining work will be completed. Second, to track the cost of a single sprint. Third, to track the total cost of the project. Fourth, to track the business value over time. Fifth, to track the performance of the individual developers. Answer. Estimate when the remaining work will be completed. A burn down chart is a graphical representation of the remaining work versus the remaining time. The remaining work is generally on the vertical axis, with time along the horizontal axis. Next question. A company wants to introduce Scrum in the development process. It has hired an experienced Scrum Master for all four Scrum team working on the company's product. Which of the following options apply in this scenario? Options. There can be only one product owner. Second, there should be four product owners, one for each team. Third, the product has one product backlog. Fourth, there should be four product backlogs, one for each team. So, there can be only one product owner. The product has one product backlog. It all starts with a product backlog. One product can only have one product backlog, and there's one product owner for product backlog. Next question. Complete the following sentence. The next sprint begins. Options. As soon as the backlog has enough items to fill the sprint. Second. As soon as all the product backlog items from the previous sprint are completed. Third. Right after the conclusion of the previous sprint. Fourth. At the product owner's discretion. Fifth. Right after the testing is completed. Answer. Right after the conclusion of the previous sprint. There are no delays in starting a new sprint, and there's no gap between the sprints. The Scrum Guide 2020 explains a new sprint starts immediately after the conclusion of the previous sprint. Next question. Every company is using Scrum to develop a product in a very dynamic and competitive industry. Currently, the duration of the sprint is 3 weeks. The marketing department is unhappy that important new features are only available after 3 weeks, and sometimes newly released features needs to be adapted as the market conditions have changed. What's a valid action that can be applied in order to support the company to be more competitive? Options. Increase the sprint duration to 4 weeks. Second, reduce the sprint duration to 2 weeks. Third, keep the sprint duration the same but ask the developers to work overtime for a period. Fourth, cancel the sprint each time new features are needed. Answer. Reduce the sprint duration to 2 weeks. While increments can be built and delivered multiple times per sprint, reducing the sprint length may also be an option worth exploring. Next question. A product owner is involved in multiple projects and cannot attend the sprint retrospective. What can the Scrum Master do? Options. Organize a sprint retrospective only every 2 sprints. Second, invite the stakeholders to represent the product owner. Third, schedule the sprint retrospective 1 week later. Fourth, coach the product owner in the value of the Scrum and help the product owner understand the purpose of the sprint retrospective. Answer is coach the product owner in the value of Scrum and help the product owner understand the purpose of the sprint retrospective. The sprint retrospective is an essential part of the Scrum process and needs to happen as prescribed. It's an internal team event, so external parties cannot attend. The best approach is to coach the product owner to understand better how Scrum works, why meetings are essential, and the impact if they don't attend. Next question. What is Scrum? Option. A methodology that can help with the complex adaptive problems. A technique that can help with complex adaptive problem. A framework that can help with complex adaptive problem. Or a process that can help with a complex adaptive problem. The answer is a framework that can help with complex adaptive problem. Scrum is a framework. Next question. Which of the following are not prescribed Scrum events? Options. Product backlog refinement, daily Scrum, release planning, sprint retrospective, sprint review, object kickoff meeting. Answers are product backlog refinement, release planning, and project kickoff meeting. Scrum defined 5 events: the sprint, sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. Product backlog refinement, release planning, and project kickoff meeting are not prescribed Scrum events. Next question. The product owner is not using user stories to describe the product backlog items in the product backlog. What is an appropriate reaction from the Scrum Master? Option. Who is the product owner in using user stories? Second, rewrite the product backlog item as user stories. Third, ask the developers to work with the product owner. Fourth, it's fine. User story are not mandatory in Scrum. Answer, it's fine. User story are not mandatory in Scrum. The Scrum Master role is to coach the product owner on how to manage the product backlog, but user stories are not mandatory. And that completes our next 20 questions. Thank you all for watching this video. If any question, please ask me in the comment box. If you didn't subscribe yet, please do it. If you like this video, please like and share. For the latest notification of the related video, press bell icon. See you all with the next set of practice questions.